Good evening and a warm welcome. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Griha Atul. Now tonight we are diving into the legal and political firestorm that's got everyone talking. The Justice Yashwant Varma controversy. It's a messy mix of cash, courts and calls for change, and it's shaking up how we think about who gets to pick our judges. With Justice Yashwant Varma being sent back to his old stomping grounds at the Allahabad High Court by the Supreme Court, the Allahabad High Court Bar Association is flat out furious, calling this repatriation a dodge. They have launched an indefinite strike starting today, saying that they are not a trash bin for questionable transfers. They want answers, they say, not a shuffled deck. Now, and they are not alone in raising this particular stink. This whole mess is dragging an old debate back into the spotlight. How do we pick our judges and who gets to decide? Which brings us to the political side of this entire saga. Up in the Rajya Sabha, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar, who doubles as the chair, pushed to bring back the National Judicial Appointments Commission, or the NJAC. Remember, NJAC was a law that was passed back in 2014 with huge support from all sides. Think near unanimous cheers in the parliament and 16 state assemblies signing it off. It was meant to give politicians a say in picking judges alongside the judiciary. But the Supreme Court shot it down in the very next year in 2015, saying that it messed with judicial independence. Dhankhar says that it's time now to rethink that call. Yesterday, he sat down with leader of the House, JP Nadda, and leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, to hash it out. Kharge even gave Dhankhar props for his constitutional chops and said transparency in these talks matter. Word on the street, or at least as per sources, is that the central government might just dust off NJAC and give it another go. And Congress, usually at loggerheads with the BJP, might actually back it. The Supreme Court's been running the show on appointments through its collegium for years now. But critics like Dhankhar say that it is too closed off, too secretive. NJAC would let the government and others weigh in, but the flip side, some worry that it would give politicians too much sway over the bench. So, too many questions that this judge's tale now brings forward. Can we trust the folks judging us if there's even a whiff of funny business? The strike in Allahabad, the probe in Delhi, and the chatter in the parliament, they're all screaming the same thing. Something's got to give. So tonight, we are asking, is the NJAC the fix or just a power grab in disguise? Should the judiciary stay its own boss, or is it time for a shake-up? Now, the judge cash scandal is under intense scrutiny as a high-level probe panel pieces together the events surrounding the case. A three-member committee of senior judges is leading this inquiry with a focus on unraveling the truth behind the March 14 fire incident. Number one, this is what the authorities are planning on doing. They are going to be questioning those who first reached the scene to determine what they saw and whether the key evidence was compromised or not. Second thing that they are looking at is primarily to probe on the sequence of events on the night of March 14. That is, investigators are retracing the timeline of what really happened that night. Third thing that they are going to be looking at is the authenticity of the burnt cash video that is going to be probed, whether that footage was genuine or was it tampered with. The committee is set to verify its source and also legitimacy. The fourth thing they are looking at is the forensic teams may be roped in for this particular investigation, something that is being the cry and need of the hour. As they are experts, they might just be brought in to analyze the charred remains and determine if this cash was deliberately destroyed. Fifth, we are looking at a probe on contradictory remarks by the cops and also the judge. So this is mismatched statements that are raising more questions than answers. Investigators will be seeking to clarify on the differing versions now. The other thing that they are also looking at is fire chief's statement on the cash recovery. It will be examined. So this is very, very critical to this entire investigation, and as that report on whether the cash was found before or after the fire broke out will be a crucial piece of evidence. Lastly, the judge, in this case, Justice Yashwant Varma, his call records will also be investigated upon. Who did he speak to before and after the fire? His communication on trail could reveal critical links. Now, let's look at the main difference between the collegium and the National Judicial Appointment and the Commission, the NJAC that we are looking at. Of course, the government is mulling a different version of NJAC altogether. So while the collegium system is a system based on 3 judges case, NJAC is a body that's created to end the old collegium system of judges appointing judges. Supreme Court collegium consists of the Chief Justice of India plus 4 senior-most Supreme Court judges, while the High Court collegium consists of the Chief Justice and 2 senior-most judges. The NJAC, remember, has 6 members. The Chief Justice of India, who's the chairperson, the 2 senior-most Supreme Court judges, the Union Law Minister, 2 eminent persons and 1 nominated by the Chief Justice of India himself. The Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha and 1 other nominated member from either the SC or ST or OBC minority communities or women are also part of it. Now, the collegium has no constitutional backing. Remember, this is one thing that is yet again been underlined this time around, as well as the debate has hit Parliament, that this is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution and it is solely based on judicial interpretation of Articles 124 and 217. The NJAC, remember, was introduced through a constitutional amendment, that is Article 124A and the NJAC Act in 2014, and it was later struck down by the Supreme Court in the following year. It was passed by both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha in August in the year 2013. The collegium recommends the names to the President of the country. The government can then object, but it is bound if the collegium reiterates. The government's role is limited in getting an inquiry conducted by the IB if a person is to be elevated as a judge in a High Court or the Supreme Court. NJAC, however, would now recommend names to the President. Any 2 members could veto a proposal, ensuring consensus. So, role of executive has been limited to raising objections or seeking clarifications. They cannot reject if collegium insists, and that is so far the system which is in place. The NJAC, however, requires significant involvement via the Union Law Minister and influence in nominating eminent persons. So we are asking today, as far as this NJAC debate and this entire cash row that is reopening this old wound of judicial liberty is concerned, whether this is in fact going to be compromising judicial liberty and give more control to the government or otherwise.
हमारी ये लड़ाई इसलिए हो रही है कि मेरे यहाँ जो हार्ड वर्किंग ऑनेस्ट जजेस हैं, आज उनकी छवि खतरे में पड़ी है। इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट को डंपिंग ग्राउंड समझ लिया।
Do you think that it is time to rethink that judicial accountability needs to be there?
I think it definitely is time to recount it.
Bring back the NJAC, sir.
Yes.
There is no constitutional provision of review or appeal of a constitutional amendment. If there is legislation in the country by parliament or state, judicial review can take place on the anvil whether there is conformity with constitutional provisions.
Taking this to my guest on the broadcast, or joining us this evening, Ashish C. Agarwal, who is the senior advocate of the Supreme Court and also a former president of the Supreme Court Bar Association, is with us. Also with us is Kanika Bhardwaj, another lawyer from the Supreme Court. Vikas Gupta, also a lawyer from the Supreme Court, is joining us. And from the political spectrum, we have Arshpreet Singh Khadial, spokesperson of the Congress and also an advocate, who is with us on the broadcast. So we have a full panel of legal experts today. Arshpreet, I'll begin with you, considering All right, we yet to have Varshpreet on the broadcast with us, but he is going to be joining us in some time. Karika, let me actually begin with you because other than me, you're the only other female person on the panel. What do you have to say about this entire controversy associated with Justice Yashwant Varma, and in turn, this leading it to the reopening of this debate on the appointment of judges? What do you make of this controversy?
See, without taking any sides at this point of time, I would want to say that if this incident has actually happened and if this incident is proved, then definitely I think the citizens, all the citizens of the country have immense faith on the judicial system. But I think it will be really bad if this incident is true, because the faith will be shaken somewhere. And when we talk about the appointment of the judges here, see, from the past many years, all the advocates and even the senior advocates, they are against the collagium system. Collagium system is something which is judges appointing judges, which actually invites the nepotism also, and which actually kills the actual talent of the junior judges and other advocates also. So we are always in opposition of collagium system. But when we talk about NJAC, here also we are talking about the appointment of the judges, but nobody is talking about the inquiry part, which is the main thing. If any judge, after the appointment of as being a judge, if he commits any activity which is illegal, for example corruption or any sexual harassment act also, because we have seen sexual harassment accusations also on some judges in the past. So if any illegal activity is done by the judges, what will be the inquiry? Whether there will be a police investigation, forensic investigation, where there will be can CBI enter into it or not? So how the inquiry will be done? Nobody is focusing on that. Everybody is focusing on the appointment part, is my concern.
Right. Adish Agarwal, would you like to weigh in on this? And of course, I would be asking you about this repatriation of Justice Varma in just a bit, but about this inquiry, the way it is being conducted, the way the Supreme Court Collegium was in a huddle, and now there is an in-house panel of 3 judges that is being set up. But what about the exact investigation? Which way do you think it is really headed? Because there are some serious lapses that we see happening around here. The first one specifically is on the charred remains of the wad of cash that was found at the official residence of Justice Varma. What happens to that? And why have forensic teams not been on ground from the word go ever since that recovery?
See, actually, when the matter was reported to the judiciary by the police, immediately steps were taken. When it was reported to Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, then immediately Chief Justice of Delhi High Court reported to Chief Justice of India. Chief Justice of India talked to the other collegium members, and they thought that immediately steps should be taken. Now, question is, some people are asking, the president of the Allahabad High Court Bar Association is also asking that why FIR is not registered. You see, we have to see the aspect which should be practical, and the judges should act free from any fear. Now, if we allow immediately, if some false allegations are made and we report the matter to police, then no judge will be working. If tomorrow allegations are found false, then what would be the reputation of the judge, his career? So, and then police will register case immediately, and if judge has passed some adverse order, qua the police or qua the government. So this system of in-house committee is very perfect, and there was no delay, and nowadays everything can be checked even after 15 days. Honorable Chief Justice of India has directed that all call details should be procured, telephones should be kept intact, so that whatever has been used, the record of video, CCTV camera, who were employed there, the security staff, everything will come out. Today, the members of in-house committee has visited the residence of the judge, and they will see this is correct. There are some lacunas on the part of the local police and the fire brigade people. When they went there, they should have videographed the entire thing.
Yes.
Now, everyone, even a beggar, is having a mobile which can record, and when they can record this later part, so they could have recorded, videographed. Now, basic issue is whether that place which Justice Varma says was keeping open for storage of the waste things, and it is adjacent to the this security guards staff quarters. So whether at the time when police and fire brigade people reached, whether that was locked or it was open. If it was locked,
So while you
the
say that
key
there are
was
too
with
many
whom?
lacunas behind this investigation,
I
and
can tell
how
you
there are
one
two
thing.
particular departments, especially the police and the fire department,
can-
that needs to be questioned here. What about the version of Justice Verma himself? Because he has spoken with the Chief Justice of India. There is a version that he has put out. One of them is that he was not even present with his family in the premises at that time when this fire took place.
It can be planted. It can be planted
Okay.
because once if repair remains open, and this is very wrong to say there is only one entry. For you can see, you are a journalist. Every in government quarter, bungalows, there is
Okay.
a front entry gate, and back side there is a service lane from where the employees, servants, they go to servant quarters. And so, if it was remaining open, then nobody will keep money, and that too big
Okay,
amount
so one
in
point that
open
is
place.
coming into the discourse, Vikas Gupta, I need your expertise over here, because this is one thing that is being suggested, that these evidences so far that are being looked at by the investigative authorities and also the three-judge panel could be planted, and this is a deliberate exercise possibly, and this is all conjecture, remember, could have been done to get in a bad word for Justice Verma, who has so far had a spick and span record. It's an impeccable record. There has been no controversy associated with him in the past. So why suddenly this, and how suddenly this is the curious question.
No, let us not, now dwelling in this, what kind of the evidence is available or not, let us not get into it, because that's not in our domain. That's within the domain of the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court.
Yeah.
And only on the basis of the evidence that was collected and shown to the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, who prepared his report and sent it to the Chief Justice of India, on whose recommendation an inquiry has been instituted. I think there is sufficient evidence as far as what came to the knowledge of the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, which prompted him to send a report and which merited in-house inquiry. And what kind of evidence Delhi police have or do not have, that is not in the public domain, and that is not what we need to dwell at this point in
But
time.
why do you say
That
that,
is already
Vikas?
there.
Because, we had Justice Mukul
why I'm
Rohatgi
say-
on the
why I'm
broadcast yesterday. He was the one who was
Why I'm-
also raising these very questions. And why should we not delve into what is happening as far as this inquiry is concerned? And why suddenly this need and this hurry to make a devil out of Justice Verma? Because I asked this question of the Allahabad Bar Association and its resistance to the repatriation. They also requesting an impeachment. How suddenly is all of this adding up?
No, it's not sudden. The event took place on the intervening night of 14th and 15th, and only because of the press which surfaced on a morning on 21st morning, nobody had a whiff of it. No bar associations, nobody, no court staff, nobody had a whiff of what had happened. And the judge continued to hold court till 20th, and probably it looked like a cover-up operation, unless and until it came in the newspaper. And then there was various stands taken by the judge himself with various defense, and I'm sure that even the Supreme Court came up with different clarifications on the website till the time the in-house inquiry was instituted. And one important point which I just wanted to touch with you,
Sure.
probably ask the other speakers, as far as the NJAC is concerned, government has been testing waters in last couple of 3-4 years and trying to find out whether NJAC with amendments could be brought in the parliament, and there was pushback from the judiciary all along. But I think this has been a very notable incident has taken place, and that is the reason there's a voice amongst the lawyers community, amongst the people of this country, that there need to be more transparency as far as appointment of the judges is concerned. And it is not only left to appointment of the judges, it is more to the accountability, transparency in their operations. And today, the way impeachment is such an impossible task, and that is precisely the reason in almost 8 decades of our independence, we haven't had a impeachment proceedings, actual impeachment taking place in this country. So I
Yes.
think the accountability and even removal of the judge has to be a little simpler, so that if there is cast aspersions, or if in-house inquiries it is found that the judge is not up to the mark or is corrupt, then there is enough provision in the constitution so that the impeachment proceedings is also a simpler thing. Otherwise, we continue to have judges where accountability is a distant far away.
Right. Ashpreet Kadyal, this point of NJAC back into the discourse that Vikas Gupta is also now talking about, do you think Justice Varma and this entire incident makes him fair game and makes him, rather cornerstone for actually bringing in that entire discourse back, considering we are now again talking about accountability of judges and how this entire appointment process and also investigation in many ways remains flawed because it is well within that entire collegium system, as is being seen in Justice Varma's controversial case as well?
See, number one, Congress MPs in the parliament for the last couple of days were demanding discussion over this issue. But the Bharatiya Janata Party, with the help of one issue or another, was dilly-dallying it, having the parliament adjourned on the basis of one reason or another, as if it was not important to the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is about one of the pillars of democracy. This is about the guardian of the Constitution. And it's paramount. It's not even important, it's paramount, the most important thing. And yet, Mr. Modi has not uttered a word. Yet, our Home Minister Amit Shah has not uttered a word. And I want to know it from the Bharatiya Janata Party as to why are you not serious about this issue? Number two, see, given that it's such a sensitive...
But it's surprising that you say that, Ashpreet, because only yesterday Jagdeep Dhankhar has had a conversation with not just JP Nadda but also with Mallikarjun Kharge, and they seem one with the idea of having something like an NJAC, if not exactly NJAC, back into into its form as is being discussed in the parliament, or possibly is going to be discussed in the parliament. Surprisingly, Congress and BJP are on the same page over this.
Number one, it was us that demanded and started with this, that a discussion should happen. Number two, it was our request, persistent requests, that a meeting should be called, and thankfully the chairman has agreed to it, and a meeting of the floor leaders has been called. But now the fact of the matter is, why should the Prime Minister be quiet over this? Why should the Home Minister be quiet over this? Are they not concerned with this? They have been entrusted with the responsibility to run this country, and should they not give their two bits over this? They stand over this. How will the Bharatiya Janata Party's government ensure accountability, transparency, and responsibility for the future course of action? And number two, given that the concerned justice has been hearing a lot of important matters like Unnao rape case and other serious matters, this matter needs to be inquired and looked into in a time-bound manner. Number two, as far as the statements regarding the matter are concerned, see, given that if a CCTV footage were to be vetted, were to be analyzed, one could easily make out if stacks of money have been brought in at that point of time in order to frame him as far as the allegations by the concerned person are concerned.
Actually, we will talk about the investigation again. We started talking about the investigation, but here, help me understand, is the Congress one with the NJAC idea or not? Because here, from whatever is coming out of the parliament, that seems to be true. And you were telling us that it's the Congress who has initiated that conversation. But we have seen the vocal critics of the collegium system in Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar, and he has found an opportunity yet again through this controversy to talk about it. So why is the Congress taking that credit away from him?
It's not about taking away credit. It's about, if you would have allowed me to complete. Sure. What we are saying is, one, a time-bound inquiry is need of the hour because it is about our judiciary, it is about our guardian of the Constitution, and the credibility of it has to be maintained. It is paramount. Now, what we are saying is, that there are two versions to it. One, that corruption has been done, and second version is that the gentleman has said that I have been framed. Now, what could be done here is the CCTV is to be examined. If stacks of money went in at that point of time when the fire brigade went in, if it is seen, then what the judge is saying is right. If it is not seen, then what he's saying is false. Why till now the Bharatiya Janata Party's government has not come up with anything? Why has the Bharatiya Janata Party's government kept quiet over this issue is the concern. Because if the Prime Minister would have spoken over it, the Home Minister would have spoken over it, of course the people would have had a sigh of relief that our concerned leaders are looking into the matter. But they haven't uttered a word as if it wasn't important to them. So all we are saying is that the credibility of the judiciary is to be maintained, and that is only possible if there is a fast-track disposal of this matter and there are safeguards put into place so that in the future this kind of incident is averted, does not happen, and the system could function as smoothly as possible.
Okay, Kanika, back to you. You were, you started off by being critical of the collegium system. You are a lawyer yourself. We have seen ample amount of resistance from the Allahabad Bar Association about sending Justice Varma back to his parent High Court, the Allahabad High Court. What do you make of that resistance and the kind of demands, including that indefinite strike that they are now raising?
Yes, absolutely. Because see, somewhere they are right also. Because they are right in saying that Allahabad Bar Association is it's not a dump, right? They are somewhere right, I believe, by saying this. And secondly, transferring a judge from one place to another is, I do not think it is a solution somewhere. You should withdraw the responsibilities, which has been now done. Day before yesterday, Justice Yashwant Sharma was there. His name was there in the list, but now I think yesterday only his name was removed and the judicial responsibilities was taken back from him by the CGI. So this has been done. But again, my concern is always whether it's Allahabad High Court or Delhi High Court or any other High Court, when we appoint judges, I mean, today also we are talking only on the appointment of judges and only about the about the internal inquiries and everything. But I do not feel that internal inquiry is sufficient in such type of matters. I do not think, because these inquiries are highly confidential. These inquiries are not transparent at all, and the citizens of India should know that what exactly has happened in this case. It is their right to understand that whether this is a corruption matter or whether this is or whether it's not a corruption matter. If this is a corruption matter, the action should be taken strictly, and if this is not a corruption matter, the image of the justice should be immediately, he should be given a clean chit on immediate basis. So this has to be done. My focus is on the inquiry part, that how you do the inquiry.
All right, fair point. All right, we have to wrap it up. But thank you so much for your points, ladies and gentlemen. The whole idea of this debate is rather muddled up right now, and so is the inquiry around Justice Yashwant Varma. Let's hope the outcome is not as sullied and as muddled up, because what we are seeing happening in this particular case is three things. One is a question on the kind of investigation that is going on in the case from the start. The second thing is training guns at the collegium system that has been prevalent with the Supreme Court, with the judiciary system in the country since time immemorial. And the third is the resistance that is coming in from the Allahabad Bar Association regarding the repatriation of Justice Varma to his parent High Court, as if they've already claim that he is somebody who needs to be impeached, he is somebody who's already sullied. So these are the curious questions that need to be brought together, looked upon deeply, and let's see where this entire debate is going to be headed from there on. Next up, we are